Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel at Ndeendah Exclusive Crochets. On today's video, we're going to be learning how to crochet this beautiful cardigan. This is the easiest tutorial that you're going to find anywhere. It's a simple stitch. We're just going to be using single crochet back loop only for the whole project. So stay tuned. If you're an absolute beginner and you've always wanted to make a cardigan for yourself, this is the tutorial for you. So make sure you watch it till the end. Feel free to share this video, comment on this video, like this video, and most importantly, subscribe to this video so that I can get motivation to do more and more and more tutorials. So let's get into it, and I hope you learn a thing or two from this video. These are the tools that you're going to require for this project. You're going to use chunky yarn. I'm using the butterfly chunky yarn, which is 4-ply. I have 2 crochet hooks. The major one that I'm going to be using is this 4.5mm crochet hook. And then I'll be using this 4.0mm crochet hook for the ribbing parts, that is for the cuffing and for the attaching of the parts together. I use this smaller hook because it gives more definition, but it's not really necessary. If you don't have a smaller hook, feel free to ignore it. And then you'll definitely need stitch markers, and you're going to require a pair of scissors. For the yarn, you're going to need at least 20 balls of yarn. So since I'm using 2 colors, I'm going to be using 10 balls of black yarn and 10 balls of pink yarn. For this project, we are going to be working with the ribbing stitch, and we're going to be doing vertical ribbing stitches. So you'll definitely start with a slip knot. And I'm going to do 50 chains of black and 50 chains of the pink one. So that is 100 chains in total. I have done my first 50 chains of the black yarn. So now I want to attach the pink yarn, and this is how you attach. So you take your crochet hook and you grab your pink yarn and you just pass it through that last chain that you had. Pull the black yarn and tighten it, and then take your pink yarn and now do your 50 chains of pink yarn. So we have our foundation chain done, and this is what we are going to be working with. So the first row, we are going to do single crochets. So we're going to do single crochets all the way to the end, and then now I'll show you how we do the ribbing stitch. So make sure you do single crochets up to the end. I'm going to show you how we switch colors when we get to this point, and then I'll show you how we do the ribbing stitch. So do single crochets. Here is how you do single crochets if you're an absolute beginner. You see this chain, skip this chain, and from the second chain from your hook, you insert your crochet hook, you grab your yarn, you have 2 loops on the crochet hook, you yarn over and you pull through. That's how you work a single crochet. In the next chain, you insert your hook, you grab your yarn, pull through, you have 2 chains on the loop on the crochet hook. You have 2 loops on the crochet hook, yarn over, pull through. So that's basically what we do for single crochets. Insert your crochet hook into the next chain, pull over, you have 2 loops on your crochet hook, yarn over, pull through. So you'll work single crochets up to this point, and I'll show you how we switch color. We've gotten to the last chain of the pink yarn. So now we want to switch it up and use the black yarn. So we'll leave this pink yarn, and then we'll grab our black yarn, which is now going to be our working yarn. And on the next stitch, you will do a single crochet. So you see, you'll have a black loop and a pink loop. and then you do your single crochet. So you'll have successfully attached your pink to your black, and you just continue. So this loose tail end here, I like to sew it in. So we're just going to sew it in. Now we'll continue with our normal single crochets because we have attached the black yarn, and then I'll sew this in, and we'll continue doing our normal single crochets. So you can see this pink yarn that was loose is sewed in to just make sure the work is neater. And then now we'll do single crochets up to this last point. We have completed our first row, and this is how our work is looking like. So if you like, you can do half double crochets. If you like, you can do double crochets, but I am using single crochets because I want it to have more definition. So how we work a ribbing stitch, as we move to the next row, you will chain two. So you will always be chaining two before you move to the next row. So you will chain two, and then you will turn your work. And if you want your work to be neat and straight, for the very first space and the very last space, I will always do a single crochet in the stitch space. So single crochet, and then in the other row, in the other spaces, I am going to do back loop only. So here is how you work a ribbing stitch. You can see that with your work, you can see on your project you have these little V's that have been created by your stitches. So instead of going through both of them, like instead of going through both of them here, you will just go through the one that is farthest to your end, that one. So instead of going through here, you will go through here. So this loops that are facing away from you, that are farthest from you, are the ones that you're going to be working in your single crochets. So that is the back loop only. You will do a single crochet into the next back loop, single crochet into the next back loop, single crochet. And you will do that until we get to this point here. And I'm going to show you how we switch color to make sure that the work is beautiful and doesn't look messy. We have come to the end of our black point. And now from this point onwards, this is how you're going to be switching color. So you have your two loops, your two black loops on your crochet hook. So you will leave the black yarn and you're going to grab the pink yarn and continue with the single crochet. So because you have two loops on your hook, you're just going to finish it off as the single crochet. And then you make sure that you do not miss on the very first stitch because your work will look messy. So on the very first stitch, there's a single crochet, so do not miss on that. So make sure you identify your very first pink loop, back loop, and do a single crochet there. And then you'll just continue doing your normal single crochets, back loop only. So just the same way you've been doing with the black one. So the back loop, the back loop is the one that is going to be giving us the ribbing stitch effect. You might not see it right now, but once we do a couple of rows, you're going to be able to see the ribbing pattern come to life. So finish off your single crochets up to this point. Basically, that's it. We are done with our first row of ribbing stitches. So just remember, I told you every time you're moving to the next row, you chain two, and then you'll turn your work. On the first stitch, you're going to do a normal single crochet. Sorry, on the first and the last stitch, on the very first stitch and the last stitch, you will always do a normal single crochet because you want your work to be straight and aligned. And then on the other stitches, you're going to be working on the back loop only so that you can achieve your ribbing stitch. So you'll be doing single crochets on the back loop only. And then when you get to this point where you need to switch color, you make sure you have two loops of the color that you're working with. Leave that color, grab the next color, and complete your single crochet like that. So you'll have attached successfully and you'll have taken your other color. And do not forget the very first loop that you see is where you're going to work your single crochet. So you work your single crochet in that loop, and then you'll now continue working your other normal single crochets on your back loop only. So you work that, and don't forget that at this end, you're going to do a normal single crochet on the stitch space. So on the first and the last stitch, you're going to be doing normal single crochets. And the other ones in between, you're going to be doing back loop only single crochets. So you will work that until you have rows that are wide enough to fit your back panel. Once you have that, I'm going to show you how we are going to do that, and we're going to attach all the parts together. Very easy, very simple, no complications, just how I told you, easy. Here is a completed part of one of the parts of the front panel, and I want to show you how we do the ribbing at the bottom part of this part to have like a nice finishing. So this is, you're going to repeat the process that we're going to do here for all the panels. So the other front panel and the back panel as well. So you identify where your end is, and then you will use your smaller crochet hook, and then you will insert your crochet hook into that space. You will take your yarn. I'm using this smaller yarn because the yarn that I had kind of, got over the black yarn. So this will still work. So I'll double strand with this. And then I will just, you know, put my yarn and attach my yarn to one of the parts. And then create, first we'll start with a chain of two. You'll chain two, and then you will do a double crochet in the same chain space. So you will do one double crochet, and then now for, you'll do double crochets in each space up to this end. So make double crochets in each, stitch space. So here, 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 until you have double crochet up to the end. So here is one of our spaces. So we'll do a double crochet, and then the next space is here. We'll do another double crochet, and then on this other space we'll do another double crochet, and we'll do the double crochets until we get to this end here. So do that, and then let's see each other when you're done up to this point. I've completed my first row of double crochets. So moving on to the next, row, we're going to chain two, one, two, and then we're going to turn our work. And then now we're going to work front and back loop stitches. Like we'll interchange front loop and back loop, front loop and back loop stitches. So on the very first one, we'll just do a normal double crochet on the first space. We'll do a normal double crochet. And then on the second one, we're going to do a front post double crochet. On the second one, on the next one, we're going to do a back loop double crochet, and then front loop double crochet, back loop double crochet, front loop double crochet, and then back loop, double crochet. So you're going to alternate. You can see we've already started getting a form of texture pattern-ish, stitch coming up. So you keep interchanging front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet until we get to this point. On the last stitch space, you're going to do a normal double crochet. So do that up to this point. Chain two, work your next row with front and back post, double crochets. Same until you have a desired size. This is how it looks like. So this is how we finish off our panels. This is the one part of the front panel. So you'll do this for your two front panels and your back panel, and you'll have something that looks like this. And this other part is just going to be laid normally because this is where we're going to join with the other parts. So finish up this for your other panels as I show you. And up next, I'll show you how we do the sleeves, how we finish off the sleeves. Here I have one of my sleeves. It's just a normal rectangle, just the same way I did the panels, but a size that is wide enough so that even when I fold, it is going to fit my arm. So I did one major color, like 75% of one color and 25% of the other color. It doesn't, depends with however you like your colors to be. So this is how my sleeve is gonna look like. Just a normal rectangle, which I'm going to fold and join off, and this is where my arms are going to go through. Up next, we want to work the cuffing part, the ribbing part of the cuffs. This is the part that goes, to your wrist like this, which you will attach to your sleeve to make the sleeve look a little bit defined. So what you're going to do to achieve this part, it's pretty much simple. It's the same thing that you've been doing over and over again. So what you're gonna do, you will just start with a slip knot, and then you will do 15 chains. One, two, or the number of chains that you desire your cuff to be. So for mine is 15, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 15 chains, and basically what you've been doing working on the body, so we'll be doing ribbing stitches, single crochet ribbing stitches. So the first row, you're just gonna do a row of single crochets. So single crochets. I have my first row of single crochets. I'm gonna chain two, and then I'm going to work single crochets on the back loop only. So basically what you've been doing with the whole project is what you're going to be doing to achieve this. So make it as wide as it can fit your wrist. So to finish up on my sleeve, you remember this part that we did, the cuff part? This cuff part, we are going to attach it to this end. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna reduce your stitches to be able to fit this cuff part. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll show you how my work is going to be looking like once that is done. This is how the sleeve actually looks like when you attach and join the cuff to the sleeve. The same pattern that you've been using for your piece is the same pattern that you're going to use to create the ribbing part of your sweater. So this is just the finishing off part, but the ribbing part. So you're gonna do like 7 chains, and then you're going to work single crochets back loop only until you have a size that is long enough to go around your whole cardigan. And once you have all of those done, you're now ready to assemble and attach your project. I'm done working all my pieces. So I have my sleeves with me. I have the front panel. I forgot to record, the pockets, but it's something simple. You can just make a square of single crochets and attach to your front panels. So this is one front panel, this is the other front panel, and then I have my back panel. And we also have the ribbing part. So we're going to now join all these parts together and we'll have our cardigan. I always start by attaching my two front panels to my back panel. So you'll definitely identify the wrong side. In this case, the wrong side is going to be on this side. I'm going to definitely cut these loose ends. So you make sure the wrong side is facing you outside, and also for the back panel, same thing. And then I'm going to join from this part here all the way to this part here. And then for this other panel, same thing. I'm going to join from this end all the way up to where the front panel ends. So I usually join with single crochets. So you can join with a darning needle if you like, but I will be joining with single crochets. So you'll just attach your yarn at this point, and then you'll do single crochets until you get to this point and finish up to this point. Same thing you're gonna do with this side. You're going to start your crochet from this point all the way to this point where your front panel ends. So do that with single crochets, and then we'll attach the sleeves. I'm done attaching the front panels, the two front panels to the back panels with single crochets, and this is how my work looks like on the wrong side. So up next, let's attach the sleeves. Here I have my two sleeves, and here I have already folded them. So this is where your stitch markers come in handy. So once you fold them, identify the middle part of your sleeve, and then you will just put a stitch marker on that part. Put a stitch marker because this is going to help you identify where you're going to attach the sleeve to the other parts of the cardigan. So you put your stitch marker there, and the same to the other part. Just fold it, identify where your middle part is, and then place a stitch marker. Once that is done, so I will attach my sleeves to the two parts of the cardigan. So I have my stitch marker, which will enable me to identify the middle, and I'm going to attach it to this part where the shoulder is supposed to be. And then I will close it off with a stitch marker, the same to this other side, because it's going to help you be able to make sure that your work is uh, the same size. So you won't find that other parts are longer than other parts. So we have attached our sleeves to our parts of the other parts of the cardigan. So now what you're gonna do, I'm sorry, this is the widest that my angle can get, but I hope you understand. These are the two front panels, and this is the back panel right here. And make sure that you're working on the wrong side. So even with your sleeves, make sure the wrong side is facing you. Once you have identified where your wrong sides are, your wrong side should always be facing you. You will just spread your front panel like that, and also spread your sleeve like that. So you're going to work with single crochets, but on the wrong side, you're going to work with single crochets from this end where your work meets the other parts. And that's how you ensure that your sleeves are equally attached to the other parts. So make sure you identify the wrong part, attach your stitch marker, and then spread your work like that, and then seal it off with single crochets, both sleeves on this side and on this side. So work single crochets, and after that, we're going to attach the ribbing part. Once everything is attached to each other, your front panels to the back panel, to the sleeves, once you've attached everything, we're basically almost done. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your ribbing part. This is the ribbing part, which you will attach to the edge of your cardigan. So this part of the cardigan is where you're going to attach the ribbing. You will make sure it goes all round. So from the bottom to the top, to the neck area, and to this other panel. So once you finish attaching that, You will just attach it the same way you're attaching every other piece with single crochets. And once we are done attaching that, you will have your cardigan ready to wear. So finish up that and then I'll show you how it looks when worn. Finally, I have attached the ribbing part to the rest of the cardigan, and this is how the finished product looks like. This is the front, the side, the back, the other side, and back to the front. I have not blocked it yet, but this is roughly how the finished product looks like. So if you liked this tutorial, if you're going to try it out and post it on your social media pages, feel free to tag me and say that the inspo was by Ndeendah Exclusive Crochets. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and comment on this video if it was helpful. Bye bye and see you on the next one.